start that recording and start.
Holy shit! It was
stream.
57:43, by the way.
Fuck. All right. Anyways, welcome to Horsin Around, a dumbass cast. I am your lovely host, as always, Nick Mercadante, and with me today I have three other lovely guests. If you would like to introduce yourselves.
Who's first?
That's you.
God.
Oh, of course. First. Hey, I was too busy being distracted by,
events occurring
that existed. Anything really at all. I'm Braden. I'm friends with these people. I'm a piece of shit, as has already been beautifully demonstrated. And I'll pass the turn.
All right.
Whoever goes next.
I'm the future mayor of New York City.
Andrew Yang?
You heard it here first.
No,
put that.
Is that
I'm a write-in candidate who will come out of nowhere. I'm the Lisa Murkowski of New York.
Oh
Incredible.
God! And finally,
in that case, I am the disembodied voice from the void and also the president of the world, Sam Yeager.
oh, you're the lizard folk that people keep talking about?
Oh yeah, I'm from the molten core of the earth, the molten city below.
I see.
That's where I'm from.
Okay.
Can you please get me a one-way ticket to Mars if you are in fact in control of everything? Can you just do that
that's Daddy Musk. I can't.
You don't have you can't you don't have a
No,
hookup?
I can't. He's no.
He's
this
like
guy out
he's...
here pretending like Musk ain't a lizard person.
No, see, that's a common misconception, actually. See, we're talking with the lizard person leader of our planet, but Musk is actually an extraplanar being. He's come from another plane to inhabit our world.
That plane is the fucking meme capital of the world. I can tell you that. Like, Jesus Christ.
Has he done
anything? Did you guys see the JRE? Did you guys see the JRE podcast with Elon Musk? Anyone watch that?
A new one?
Oh yeah, it came out yesterday. I watched the whole thing.
Watch Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I only watch Joe Rogan if Neil deGrasse Tyson or Elon Musk are on Joe Rogan. I used to watch every Joe Rogan episode, like literally all of them.
Dude.
And then coronavirus stuff started, and he started being like anti-vaccine. And I was like, all right, that's what you gotta do. Like, if you're anti-vaccine. My whole life it's been this way. If you're anti-vaccine, that's I cancel you in my mind. That's like you can say some really offensive shit, but if you try to get people not to take vaccines, that's like you're murdering people. So
yeah,
sorry.
You brought up Neil deGrasse Tyson, and my high school physics teacher got into a Twitter fight with Neil deGrasse Tyson while I was in school.
That's
it was
awesome.
Hilarious. My physics teacher taught me a very important lesson, which was, hey, just because someone's a scientist doesn't mean they know every, different avenue of science.
Yeah.
Because Neil said something about like the weather, and my physics teacher is a former meteorologist and like got his like master's in like the study of weather and all of that, and he basically just was like, Neil, you're fucking wrong. Like that's not how the fucking weather works, my guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was it was pretty funny because it was one of those things where like I can't even remember how the topic started. I think we're just like, yo, Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's gonna do Cosmos, and then my teacher was just like, don't get me fucking started on Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Dude,
like,
I love Cosmos. I cry when I watch it. I get brought to tears. Like pretty good. Like, this is so hopeful, and so many people risk their lives for science. Oh.
Bless him.
Literally how I respond.
Did Neil back down, or did he stand his ground and they went
imagine being Neil deGrasse Tyson backing down?
Could not be Neil, I suppose.
It could not be Neil.
Has it ever happened in history? I don't think.
Sub Neil. That's some sub Neil behavior.
We only have the alpha Neil, so good lord. It's interesting that you specified, Braden, that you only watch Joe Rogan if Neil or Musk is on. Has that happened multiple times? Have both of them appeared?
Those are two of the most common. Yeah, they've both been on at least 3 times.
The fuck? I didn't realize he just had that kind of pull. Are they just hang out?
Joe
that
Rogan
often?
is like
fucking every human being on the planet, man.
Joe Rogan is like legitimately one of the most like influential people in media,
He's
like
got
of
the
all of them.
biggest
It's
podcast
fucking
pool of any-
crazy.
Yeah, his
It's
guests
fucked
are-
up. Like
Yeah.
today, someone posted that he came out and said he's not taking the vaccine, and I was like, that's so like Joe Rogan can
Oh,
say stuff.
Joe
Joe
Rogan's
Rogan's
like-
killing him.
Yeah,
Trans
yeah.
women playing
window.
basketball or something.
Oh,
Like you could say like some really weird shit about like trans people playing basketball, and I'll be like, yikes.
mhm.
But if you tell people not to take vaccines, that's like actual murder. That's like thousands of people dying. Like he has the kind of influence where like, oh, that just killed someone. Down the line, I don't know how many people down. I don't know, but someone didn't get the vaccine because he said that. Someone out there, and then they killed someone. And so
we give
like,
celebrities too much power to be like, you know what, this celebrity told me to use bleach as a vaccine, so I'm gonna do that now.
Like I live in Philly, right? And
Mhm.
there's like a really large African American community. I don't know most cities, but in Philly there especially is. And the local news network has been working with like famous African American celebrities to like make sure that the African American community in Philly gets vaccinated because there's a lot of like anxiety and distrust in the African American community with doctors.
About vaccines, right?
Yeah, about vaccines and other things. That's like where it's good, right? Like that's where like celebrity can be
Influence can be used in the.
But this is the exact opposite of that. Or Jim Carrey coming out and say autism's caused by vaccines. Like
no, not
I
Jim.
was like,
come on.
yeah, he's like one of the biggest. He's like one of
Ugh.
his kids have autism, and he says it's because of vaccines. Like he's legit one of the biggest anti-vaxxers.
Imagine your own fucking child has autism, and you're like, yes, you know, having as much experience with autism as literally having to take care and raise an autistic child. You know what? It's Bill Gates. Bill Gates and the vaccines did it.
To be fair, though, I think that it's more. No. I'm not going there. But to be fair, though, it's more likely that you're going to like if you have a kid who is
autistic,
who is a child, like a baby, right? And it's hard to really tell that they're autistic at that stage, and they show more signs of autism as they grow. You would be more likely to blame something that isn't you.
Oh, that's why.
Even though it's genetic, right? Like it's for sure why he did it, right? There is a reason why.
Yeah,
your kid has autism. You're
it's
more
because
likely to
people
blame
are
it on
irrational. But we should hold people accountable for their irrationality, right? It's irrational to be racist. Obviously, we can all look at that and be like, yeah, that's irrational to think all people act a certain way because of the color of their skin. It's our job to point that out and be like, hey, that's really fucking irrational behavior. And actually, that's very dangerous behavior. No, Jim Carrey's just super famous. And so people were like, oh, yes, Jim Carrey must know.
Jim Carrey knows all.
Yeah. When I think about medical professionals I should trust, it's the guy who opened a movie by coming out of a rhino's asshole.
He's the expert. He's the expert.
That's who I trust.
Good lord. You know, before we started, we got immediately sidetracked, but the question was posed earlier about Braden. You were for people who don't know, Braden is in fact a dabbler in magic. He plays some from time to time.
You mean like a wizard?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did that kind of magic. Yes. You know, he's got his own. You got your own like show about it, right? That you do.
Yeah, I have a YouTube
cover
channel.
magic stuff.
I talk about magic. I have like 2,000 subscribers, so that's obviously not a very big show, but that's like enough. Like I have a Patreon that people support me on.
Yeah.
That's income to pay for my magic cards and other equipment I need. So yeah, like I'm a judge, so I do events. I'm giving a judge talk at a judge conference in a couple weeks. It's all digital now, just so people know. But so yeah, like I'm pretty active in magic, and people who like, you know, I'd say I'm at a point now where like there's the people who make magic, and then like the next degree of separation is like the people who make things about magic, and then there's the degree of separation is people that know people who make people who know people who know people who make magic. I'm at that point. So like, I'm friends with some people who are pretty involved in magic, but for the most part, I'm kind of just like a community person.
Yeah, but suffice to
Yeah.
say, you're pretty involved. And I mean, you have tried to sell me on it. I think at least once, if not more than once. I think you've maybe tried to sell a lot of people on it. But you're very
Yes.
into it, and I am just personally curious how you came to know
Sure.
about this game and
So
get so involved in
I
it.
played Yu-Gi-Oh, and I had Pokemon cards as a kid. I think
Mhm.
most people did.
Yeah.
Then I was like, my parents made me sell them, and that happened. And then at some point, like for me personally, like I have a lot of internalized like this is for babies or this is for girls or this is like I have a lot of those things. I think a lot of people have that, but for me that's like an especially strong thing. Like
Sure.
as an adult I've like tried to like get over that. Like I didn't watch anime because I was like anime's for fucking weird people. Now I love anime. I have a fucking anime tattoo. Right. So like
How the turntables.
well, yeah, that's the moral of this story, really. So I'm in high school, and I'm in a gaming club. We play video games. We play like a lot of Nintendo stuff, and there's like some Warhammer people and some War Machine people. So that's like a thing that's happening. And one day, like I see some people playing Yu-Gi-Oh at the theater club I'm in, and I'm like, oh fuck, these fucking Yu-Gi-Oh kids.
Fucking
Uh,
Yu-Gi-Oh baby kids.
and they were the weird kids in our
Mhm.
theater, and theater was already weird kids. So for to be the weird kid in a weird kids group, you were kind of already a little extra.
Advanced.
Advanced is a good word, yeah. And so yeah, then I I saw that, and then like one of my friends started playing, and I was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
Dude,
what
I'm
is
gonna
this?
I'm losing a friend today, bro.
Yeah, like yeah, basically, I felt like I was, and so then like two or three people were playing Magic, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, you guys are fucking high schoolers. Like, why are you playing these kids games? And and they all started doing that. That was like what they would do. They'd hang out and do that thing. And I was like, I'm losing my friends. Like, this is so fucking stupid. But I really don't want to lose my friends. Like, I didn't have any friends in middle school, and then all of a sudden I had a lot of friends in high school, and all these friends I had were playing Magic. So I was like, fuck, I guess I have to play Magic.
Yeah.
So I played my first game at this gaming club. I basically get there. I'm like, all right, teach me this fucking game. I played
Whip
the
your
first
dick
game.
out, throw it on the table.
Yeah.
Teach me how to play
So-
this fucking game right now.
Yeah, like so I played my first game, and there's like a Planeswalker, which is like one of the most complicated cards in the game. So that was very confusing. But it was like when you like played chess for the first time. Like you might be, like I played chess for the first time in years recently, and I was playing again, right? And like, oh, I see that there's more to this game than
Yeah.
I'm playing, right?
Yeah.
And so for Magic, it was very similar. Like, I can see like this is a resource management game. Oh, I can see there's interaction here. Oh, I can see there's a lot more layers to this. And
Yeah.
so that's like what really hooked me was like
The layers
realized-
of the game.
I realized
as
there were
you-
layers, and
Mhm.
like I could focus on this and become obsessed with it, and I would get really good at it. And so I did that. I became obsessed.
Oh, I can
so yeah.
I can min max this shit, and then you just went.
Well,
to
yeah,
fucking
that's how I
town.
do everything, right? Like I don't really have self control. I just if I enjoy something, I just do it until I.
To put it in a kind
run
of
at
way,
it.
you don't half-ass anything, but yes, perhaps you don't have.
Oh, I half-ass a lot, or I just don't do it. But the things I do, I become obsessive over. And so Magic is the thing. I think the thing people misunderstand about Magic is it's like 8 or 9 games that have a similar rule set. And
Mhm.
so like once you've min-maxed one of them, you can just move on to the next one, and then move on to the next one, and then move on to the next one.
Do you
And
mean like different build types constitute sort of different games within themselves, or do you just mean like there are so
no,
many
there's
mechanics?
like literally like I have like there's standard, and so that's cards only legal within the last like 2 years. Then there's modern,
Oh,
the last
okay.
like 10 years. Then there's Pioneer, the last 6 years. There's Legacy, the entire history of Magic, 25 years. Then there's Vintage, which doesn't really have a ban list. It has a limit list, like a restricted list. You only play one card of some cards, but like otherwise there's no ban list. Then there's Commander, which is multiplayer. Then there's Competitive Commander, which is multiplayer, but like only like the best cards.
Are
so what I got
are
into-
the other modes of Magic not multiplayer? I'm a little confused.
No, they're
by
all
that.
1v1. They're all heads up.
Oh, you
like
mean
chess.
more than 1v1 when you say multiplayer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I played competitive commander, which is 4 players. So imagine like chess with 4 players, but not like shitty. It's like there's a lot of like, and that's like what the rabbit hole I went down eventually was because like when 4 people come to the table, there's like it's like a great mix of problems, right? Like there's a great talk by Todd Howard about when he's talking about Fallout 3. and he's talking about how like Fallout 3 is a good game because when you die, you don't blame it on the game, you blame it on yourself, and Magic's very similar to that. But Magic also has this thing when you play multiplayer Magic, you don't blame the game, you blame your opponent. Does that make sense? And so now it's even more toxic, and like the snowball is even bigger because like you can choose to blame yourself, and in some situations it's correct to, but then sometimes it isn't your fault, and so you're like, you know what? I didn't have control in that situation, which makes the game even more addicting because like when you want to blame yourself, you do
control. Like,
well, it's like
harder.
When you want to blame yourself and you're in the mood for self-improvement, you blame yourself. And when you're not in the mood for self-improvement and you just want to play some games, you just blame your opponent. And like that's not necessarily healthy, but like that is like very addictive because you get to control like who's at fault. And so yeah, that's a lot of fun.
How long did it take you to like that seems like something that you've had time to self-reflect on to realize that that's how it works? Like, how did you just realize that when Todd Howard did his talk, or like?
No, that's like one of my favorite game design things he's ever said. Like anyone's ever said. And I like to think about games a lot. I think it's just like an ever-evolving thing. Like, why do I love this thing? It's like, I realized something I love about this today, and then maybe 2 weeks from there, and I'll think, this is something I love about this that I didn't realize before. I think the best part about it is probably the fact that like I'm in the format I enjoy playing the most was not popular when I started playing it. There might have been like a few thousand people playing it, and now there's probably like tens or maybe even hundreds of thousands of people playing it. And so that like to go from being part of thousands to like hundreds of thousands is you have a very distinct advantage in terms of like your ability to like use clout and also like at the same time just like you just know things and you can teach people things, and you're also always on the bleeding edge because you just have more information usually than most people. When something's growing so fast, and if you were there in the beginning, you just have this information advantage. And sure, the people who came in a year after you have caught up, but like the thing is like twice as many people entered 2 years later, and then 10 times as many people entered 4 years later, right? And so like you just have this huge information advantage, and that means that you like you're the person who's like you and like other people are the people who are making advancements, and that's really cool too. Like being like,
you get to take advantage of the fact that you are a trailblazer. You were to not overuse the phrase. You were there before it was cool. So
yeah, I was, and like I remember I had to go. I would have like a fucking what's the word I'm looking for? Like I would go from store to store in Philly and teach people about this format. And like
a missionary.
Yes, exactly.
Have you heard the good word of coming?
Yeah, I did. And so like the cool thing is like, and I would travel around the country, right, just for like vacations and stuff, and I'd meet people and introduce the format to people. And so it's like I did that, but it also means is like I know a lot of people. Like I've just met so many people along the way at so many different events, and people like know me from that. And I was there so early that like people I taught will teach other people, and then through them they'll know who I am. Which is like a really interesting thing to have. So like that's not why I got into it, but like why is it I spend so much time today? That's part of it. Also, like I'm giving a judge conference on this topic of like competitive Commander. That's like what my judge conference topic is about. And judges are super knowledgeable, but like the thing I have knowledge about was niche. And so a lot of people who have been playing Magic as long as I have, they were focused on something else. And then the thing that I was focused on has become much less niche. And so I have information that people who know a lot about the game should know about that wasn't important to know about when I learned it. Right. So that's also interesting. I should probably stop though, because my food's about to be here.
But this you're good. This is exactly what I was hoping to hear. This is a really interesting story, and I think it's personally like very cool that you have you've had this history where you, like you were saying, you've taught people who, based on the knowledge you passed on to them, are now able to pass it on to other people. I don't know. That seems like some intrinsically, we're all like, I feel like humans are always obsessed with like, being able to leave behind some kind of legacy, and like in some small way that is a legacy, right? You've you've passed on this knowledge and helped it sort of grow, even if only like a small bit, which is really
My
cool.
biggest legacy is actually I moderate the CDH is like the name of the format CDH Facebook group, which has like I think 15,000 people in it probably. And when I got in there, it was like 2,000 to 4,000, and I took over it around then, and I just started banning people like aggressively. Like I'd just be like,
First we must purge. First we must purge.
That's what I did. I purged, and the format started exploding as I purged it. Like, or the Facebook group did, because like there are people who just aren't interested in good discussion and learning. And when you remove those people, you're left with people who are.
Mm-hmm.
And then those people make the environment more welcoming. And then when you constantly tell people like, hey, like if you act this way, we're going to remove you. And then we remove people who act that way. And then when people come in, they see people being like, hey, if you're a dick, you're going to get kicked out. Those people self-report. They like report behavior they don't like because now they've been told that that behavior isn't allowed.
Yeah,
it's like
you've
a self.
Conditioned it.
Yeah. And so like a lot of people use that Facebook group, again, like over 10,000, maybe 15,000 people. And so that's probably my biggest legacy, actually, is just that that group and making that group much less toxic. Like there was a day where Magic banned all the racist cards. Like there were racist cards in Magic.
Yeah, right. I
like,
remember hearing about that.
There was a card that had like KKK members on it.
Yep.
It was pretty fucked up, and it was done by a Nazi, neo-Nazi, the art. And then the card number was there's like some number. It's like 1847 or something.
1488, I think is the.
The card number was 1488. Like that was the actual.
God, are you shitting me?
Yeah, it was.
Wow. There's like that's like layers of advanced like coding.
Oh yeah, like that.
And it's,
there was someone working at WotC who was a fucking neo-Nazi in the
like
90s.
What? Yeah, like how long ago was that when the card went into circulation? Okay, so like it was still pretty covert
in the 90s,
but like
yeah, in the 90s that would be like very covert, and so there was definitely a neo-Nazi working at WotC allowing this to happen. And now there hopefully isn't. Hopefully that person isn't working there anymore. But yeah, so like that had to happen. I think that was the right thing to do. They got rid of those cards. They banned them, and that caused a huge stir up. And anyone who like had a problem with it, I just banned them. I banned like 80 people in one day. And then the group like doubled in size.
Bro, but my deck relies on racism, bro. Come on.
Yeah, like the cards didn't see any play. They were bad usually. There was like one card that was good. I owned it at one point. I was the only person I ever knew who played it. I didn't play it because it was racist. I played it because it had like a niche effect. But yeah, and like the thing is,
fill that role. Like it's not like that's the only card that has that effect.
It's the only card with that effect, but it's such a niche effect. It'd be like, I don't know, like it was counter creatures that caught that if a player plays a creature that is not of the same color as your creature, counter it unless they pay its cost again. So the idea is it was literally a card about racism. Like that was like the actual like.
It was not. Yeah, I see.
Like you get like the color idea. Like if it's not the same color,
Woo!
And it had ghosts on it.
Oh, sure.
Oh
yeah.
No!
So it was overt.
Some kind of a wizard or dragon in the background.
There were ghost houses that were on fire.
Yeah,
it was really not good. Yeah, it was yikes.
Yeah.
So, all right, my food's almost here.
Okay.
Oh wait.
We can talk about some other stuff while you go grab it. But yeah, thank you for enlightening us. I personally have always been interested, and I feel like you've probably told me this story in some version before, but I think it's cool to share it because I think it is a cool story.
I don't know. I'll figure it out in a second. But yeah, but one thing I want to say, make sure is like the group doubled in size like a week later. So like that was because there were a whole bunch of people who thought our group was filled with racists. That's why they weren't in it.
Yeah.
And there were women who didn't want to join because they thought it was filled with
because it was, and then you banned them
because it was. And then like I posted on Twitter like, hey, we just banned 80 people for this reason, and a whole bunch of people joined. Double in size. Because like on Facebook, once people start joining your group, like if you get 50 people just cold calling joining your group, you start getting suggested to other people.
The algorithm steps in.
Yeah, so like it just like blew up after that.
Yeah.
So
good shit.
yeah, like when I started, we had maybe 6 people request to join a day. Now it's like 30. Like, it's just crazy. So yeah, that's probably my biggest legacy.
Yeah, that's great to hear, man. That's good shit.
Yeah.
I did note when you were talking about like your origin story, you were saying your friends were playing some Warhammer stuff, and Jacob did actually add a topic about Warhammer. Was there something you wanted to say on the matter?
I like Warhammer. Woo!
That's the only hobby more expensive than Magic.
Yes, I'm aware. I'm not into tabletop Warhammer. I mean, I only really start. I'm a big fan of the Total War series, and they made Total War Warhammer 1, and I was like, but I like historical Total War. I won't get that into it. And then I like kind of ignored Total War Warhammer 1, and then Total War Warhammer 2 came out, and it was like, yo, look at all this fucking cool shit we got. We got the lizard people. We got the rat people. We got the elves. And I was like, damn, this looks kind of cool. And then that shit sent me like, also I've followed content creators that have always been like tangentially involved in Warhammer. Like I guess my technical first like interaction with Warhammer goes back to my Blood Bowl days. For those who don't know, Blood Bowl is a side spin-off game with all of the races and lore of Warhammer.
Oh, is that the
but it's a football game?
Oh shit! I had no
Blood
idea.
Bowl fucking rules.
So good.
I love Blood Bowl 2. They're making Blood Bowl 3 with the updated mechanics so that throwing teams aren't ass anymore. But yeah, that's what kind of got me into it. And I just like the design. Its more popular cousin, which is Warhammer 40K, is like a sci-fi rendition of some of the ideas, mainly some of the ideas from like fantasy Warhammer, but this time it's way off in the future. You got to deal with the Mechanicus and all this fucking space crusade bullshit. But I like my fantasy Warhammer. I like when the High Council of Rats comes to meet together, and they're like, how can we improve our food supply? And I'm like, yes.
I gotta go. I'll see you in a bit.
All
I might come back. I might not. I have work at 5, so that's why.
Okay.
I'll see
All
you.
right. Well, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you,
Brayden.
Either way.
Love you guys.
I love you too. But yeah, I like the Total Warhammer series is what got me into Warhammer a lot more. I like all the like weird chaos shit of like there is like basically the plot of Warhammer is there's basically like a like plane filled with nothing but fucking demons and like the worst shit imaginable that is just constantly like, let's get into Earth and fuck it up.
Bro, they just want to expand. They just want to expand their real estate. Just let them in.
They want to expand. I mean, it's pretty funny. A lot of the demons also just like fucking with shit. Like I like
they're
that
like more
type
like
of,
phase
like,
and 5e than...
where they're just like, I am the evil demon of lust and pleasure, and I just like fucking with people, both metaphorically and physically. But it's just one of those. I don't know. I got like, it's also one of those things where I like looking at very cool sets of miniatures all played out on a table.
That is the thing about Warhammer that appeals to me the most is the miniatures. I love that. I love that.
The best part of Warhammer, all the miniatures.
It's so cool. I fucking love it. It's just so good. All war tabletop gaming, and that like.
I mean, that's how D&D got started, right? Like Gygax and his buddies were doing like a more traditional war sort of battlefield simulation thing with a bunch of minis on the field, and then as they just kept playing, they were like, well, what if we focus on like more a more specific and zoomed in set of troops and stuff like that, and then D&D was born.
Look, tabletop activities have gone back for like centuries. Like as soon as someone was like, what if I put this thing on a table and I say it does something, then people are like, oh fuck, we did it, boys.
Yeah, fucking, I'm looking at these minis, and they are dope as hell. A lot of them are 40k ones, because I think people really like the fucking Blue Space Marines boys.
That's why I said 40k is the more popular cousin in the Warhammer universe.
Yeah.
Even though, like, they share some things, like green skins, which are orcs, basically. both exist, and humans, of course, both exist in Warhammer proper and the 40k universe. But and they have like somewhat parallels to each other, but at the end of the day, they're very different.
Yeah.
Uh,
Is the premise that 40k is just the distant future of Total War Warhammer? Or
I actually don't. I actually don't know if that's true off the top
The
of my head.
Warhammer. So the thing about it's all Games Workshop is the
Yeah.
people that make it, and Games Workshop just fucking told any. It's the same way that they got Blood Bowl, right? Games Workshop just licensed it to any person who had any idea at all. So there are so many spin-offs and variations and things that are the canon is not really real.
Yeah.
I mean, there is obviously within each spin-off franchise, there's a canon of that world, but like
right.
they're all so different, and it's hard to. I don't think there's a cohesive canon between any of them. Like
They,
Blood
they
Bowl
keep
doesn't
they
make
keep
any
the
sense, right?
yeah they keep the reins loose and they let people do what they want, which I mean seems like
it's
a
kinda
pretty
like-
good design philosophy because it's working.
I mean, it's kind of like how Star Wars worked back into like the George Lucas Wild West days, where like
Right.
some guy off the street would walk up to George and be like, "Hey George, I want to write this book," and George is like, "Do whatever you want." And that
Pay
kinda
me the
stuff.
royalties and you can put Han Solo in your fucking fanfic.
So I have an official answer on that. So it is not a continuity of the settings.
Okay,
It is just supposed to be, what if Warhammer was in space?
I see.
Uh,
Which is fair.
But
That's
there's
fine.
no actual through line because humans, they come from Earth,
Mhm.
but regular like fantasy Warhammer is actually just Earth. Like it is literally like it has a North America, a South America, an Africa, a Europe, and an Asia, and then there's Atlantis in the middle of
Oh,
the,
okay.
It's different. It's totally. It's definitely not Earth.
Yeah, we swear we didn't just copy this off a regular map of Earth. We promise, guys.
Look, when
It's
you're
totally
trying to make
different.
a
We move
whole
things
ass
around. It's different. It's different.
Africa looks a little different. North America is a little bit more squashed down and colder than it usually is.
Hey,
Oh wait,
look.
actually, it looks the exact same. We just had it upside down. So it looks like this is the world.
Look, when you're trying to make a whole ass RPG, sometimes you just gotta say, fuck it, we're just ripping the world map. And
Yeah, but they added a giant donut in the middle of the Atlantic. It's totally different.
there you go.
It's totally different.
There you go. The minis though are reminding me, and I definitely sympathize with you guys. I love these minis, and I love minis in general. But I got this dinky ass like baby's. I guess it could be considered like baby's first Warhammer or something called Heroescape, which was a tabletop. I don't even know what to describe it as. Like you had these stat cards, and there were like these dice that you'd use to attack each other with, but it was like you would build these. Basically, the whole draw of it was that you would get this big box that was like the starter set, and it would come with a bunch of hexagonal tiles that you could put together to make your own sort of battle maps, and then it came with a bunch of and then like the story was like all of these heroes from different universes get pulled into this eternal battlefield or something. Sort of
This was like the best war game, like pre-boxed war game you could get.
That's pretty
in
good.
that era. It's so fucking good.
yeah.
I mean, it is. You're right. It's baby's first. It's not as complex as a lot of the other systems.
But for a kid my age, that shit was plenty complex enough, right? Like it was.
Super cool.
It was still fucking advanced as hell.
There's a Kickstarter, and I can't remember the name of the Kickstarter, so I'm not gonna be able to say what it is. But there's a Kickstarter that has a very similar look and feel, where all of the parts are 3D printable, so you can do all of them, but all 3D printed.
That's fucking hot, dude. Holy shit. Yeah, I've got an image that's sort of, it's very small, so I'm trying to make it as visible as I can, but it's showing like all the different parts and stuff. And I think the rulebook actually came with like 2 versions of how to play the game, one being more complicated than the other. So like if you really needed to like go to baby mode, you could do it, which was nice. And like, but yeah, they have all these cool figures. There's like mech warriors. There's like weird hellspawn zombie things. There's just a fucking World War II soldier with a Gatling gun and a katana, because that's just cool. And then there's a dragon and shit like that. And so it just reminded me of that and it brought me back. I actually, I when I moved into my new place, I had the starter set with me because I just brought it from home. But I just hadn't played it in years, so I actually got it, sold it like through Facebook to some guy in Rochester, who him and his son have been like were doing sessions, and they just wanted to add more like tiles to their collection and stuff. So this is nice to be able to pass it on and know that somebody was still getting, good use out of it. But yeah, so
Fuck, I'm trying to find this classic Warhammer story about a guy who won his game before the start of combat. It's so good.
He did
Like
what?
I remember the whole details. It's literally there's this guy. There's a Warhammer tournament going on, and there's this guy who had there are certain types of units that you can like basically deploy at any entranceway into the map.
Yeah.
And so like it was very basically scout units. So basically instead of deploying his units, he would keep them all in reserve, which means he doesn't place them out onto the battlefield.
Yeah.
And that would mean his opponent would have to set up all of his units first. And so he could then immediately deploy all of these units, and because they were scout units, you could technically like I said, deploy them anywhere and deploy them rapidly. Where he just so that he could basically just see
Surround them.
enemy's position, surround them, kill them, fall back, go back in. So this guy placed his units all around. So this guy basically had free reign to deploy his units on the map. So he placed it like equidistant to each other all around the edge of the map, which meant he instantly won because his opponent couldn't deploy any of his units because his units needed a certain amount of space to come onto the map for. So the distance between the units he had was the exact amount that was like the maximum he could do. And so he won without even before the game even technically started.
So that's the counter to the shithead reserved guerrilla warfare tactic, right?
Yeah.
Which good counter. Well done, Fuck you. You cannot even enter the map.
That's crazy. That's like and mechanics involved in that. It seems like it's interesting to suss that out, to figure out like, hey, wait a minute. Basically, I will just end the game now. Goodbye.
I mean, it's kind of what Braden was talking about with Magic, where it's like, you like this thing because you spend a lot of investment figuring stuff out like that, where it's like almost like a puzzle you have to solve in real time.
Yeah, you're getting enjoyment. Like the learning experience is enjoyable, and so since there's so much to learn, you just get hooked because you keep learning new stuff, and then you eventually master it. I would say
I'm not there yet though. I don't have enough free time to be at that point, and that's why I'll probably stick to
I don't have enough
Warhammer.
friends to get to that point, but it's a very cool world. And I do like it a lot.
Something you can appreciate from afar until
really
the world is less on fire.
The one thing I do appreciate about the Warhammer, the Warhammer 40K, it's a little bit more complicated, but in Warhammer original, each of the different races in that world feel so uniquely different. Even though all right, the Bretonians, who are the French, are still humans compared to the Empire, which is just basically the Holy Roman Empire equivalent. But they still all feel so unique. Where the Empire just is, like I said, like the Holy Roman Empire, just is so fucking busy with its fucking infighting all the time. But the Bretonians are just a bunch of French people who are dedicated to honor, and they're like, I gotta go fight something. Just give me something to fight. And I just like all that. I like how those lizard men aren't your standard bonk, go to dumb lizard brain jail. They're an actual weird, deeply embedded culture based around studying the stars, and also just like this weird this mix of sort of like religious hierarchy along with actual technological advancement. And the rats, you play the rats and you're like, these rats are dumb, they only care about eating. But the answer is that they care about eating so much that they will fucking discover anything in order to achieve that. The rats invents nukes.
I feel like I've heard about these rats before. These rats just go
bomb.
to fucking insane lengths, even just for like the dumbest goals. I think I might have actually been hearing about the orcs, where the orcs
that's a different thing, because
I think that's a 40K
the orcs
thing.
in regular Warhammer just like fighting so much that they're really good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just like, I don't give up, I just gotta kill something.
Yeah.
But there's a classic running thing in Warhammer 40K, which is the joke that the orcs are objectively the strongest faction, like the strongest race in 40K lore, because the orcs are able to do things by just believing that they're going to happen.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Like they believe their gun will fire, even though they have no idea what a fucking like how it works, or like what pulling a trigger means.
They don't design guns that actually work.
Man.
Like they don't design guns that should work, but because they believe the guns will work, they work.
Yeah. So there's like a joke that like basically the emperor of of the empire, he's basically like immortal, but no one can really like there's a lot of like convoluted shit around that and why he won't die, but the joke is that the real reason the emperor won't die is because the orcs keep believing they have to fight him, so his existence continues based off of the psychic energy of the orcs alone. And you're like, oh my fucking god.
So the orcs are just super fucking like they have amazing psychic powers that they just don't even realize they're using.
Even if they found out, they probably like they don't. Once again, I know the surface level, so maybe if they found out, they would care. But like, it's one of those things where like they're too busy being like, oh, fight. That like it doesn't matter. Like they just gotta. They're basically the Mad Max faction for the most part.
Yeah. Got that Fury Road shit going on there.
Yeah.
Which honestly, not a bad life. If it works, it works.
In regular Warhammer, they got the Paunch, who's one of the best characters in fantasy history, in my opinion. He's a goblin who ate part of a troll, but trolls regenerate.
Yeah.
So it started regenerating inside of his body, and so he had to basically just continue eating to grow his size, so that the troll shit in his stomach wouldn't kill him. And eventually it got to the point where it stopped killing him, but he just became like a fucking massive troll. Not troll, but a goblin. And he just like goes around on his fucking chariot with his boys.
He's super fat, right? He's
super fat, and he fucking loves cooking, and it's fucking great. And
he just has a troll inside of him that's just chilling.
Well, it's not like a fully fledged troll, but there's regenerative troll flesh inside of his stomach. Yes,
I see.
He just roams around the fucking desert looking for that fucking elf he wants to kill. It's so like.
Honestly, I can relate.
They're
we all
called
have an elf that we want to kill.
The orcs call themselves the boys. They use their tech. This is not only is this like regular Warhammer lore, but in the actual Total Warhammer game, they don't have a tech tree. They have a tree of things to learn called Big Thinking, and it's fucking great. I love orcs in Warhammer so much. They're so fucking good.
Oh, to be a Warhammer orc and to just have big thinking sessions. Oh my god. You keep talking. You really like these rats, though. It seems like fucking.
The rats are cool. They're the Vermintide.
That's what like that. Have you played the Vermintide game?
If you haven't played Warhammer, like the Vermintide series, exactly.
That's spin-off.
Yeah, they're doing Vermintide, then they're gonna do Darktide, and I'll actually learn something about 40K lore. But like, yeah, Vermintide. The rats are just like. What do we like? We like money, and we like food, and we like hoarding those things for ourselves. That's our whole thing. And basically, if if you're not
That's
a
me
top,
in a nutshell. I take the rats.
but they also have like a hierarchy where it's like if you're a top rat, you actually get to like try and get those things. If you're anywhere below top rat, you're just fucking dead. It's fucking up. Your job is to go die so that the other rats can go eat and have money and all that other shit.
Yeah.
But they have a whole
ratty rat world.
Yeah, it's a rat eat rat world. The rats have a whole secret rat society of a council that rules over the rat realm.
The Council of
fucking
Giant
cool.
Rats that make all of the
I'm
rules.
trying to remember the exact name of the council.
Just Google Council of Giant Rats.
That's what I'm doing. Yes, of course. The Council of the 13, known as the Lords of Decay, which are always 12 in number because the 13th is for the Horned Rat, which is the sacred rat god. It's fucking cool. The Skaven are fucking wild. They all have like different specializations. They've all got cool names like the Night Lord Sneak and Warlord Crack Doomclaw.
Oh, hell yeah.
Cool.
Is he on crack?
No,
Damn it.
Cratched Doomclaw. He's the leader of Clan Rictus. You got Warlord Nodwell. You got Seer Lord Klislik. Yeah, they're just all fucking. They all speak in like fucking rat language. It's like,
What does rat language sound like? Is it just a bunch of skittering? Like,
I'm gonna pull up some rat dialogue from Warhammer.
Oh no. Oh man.
I almost forgot. I forgot about the fucking pirates. Warhammer 2 has the pirate lords who are a bunch of undead guys who go around the fucking sea.
Oh wait.
They're
Is it
fucking
in 40? Is it in Warhammer where the pirates, when they get to land, the ships just have legs or something?
Yes.
God.
Their ships have they'll rise not only the dead of the sea, but also literal dead ships with cannon, Gatling guns. It's fucking cool. Warhammer 2 has a sea shanty in it. It's so fucking fun.
Yeah. Dude, sea shanties are making a comeback, and I'm all for it. Honestly.
Yeah, it's a mood. It's a vibe.
Yeah, sea shanties are absolutely a top tier vibe. I'm glad people are rediscovering it. It's great. Fucking.
Okay, I'm gonna post in the Horsing Around channel. I'm gonna post the Skaven Warlord diplomacy lines. Fucking.
Oh yeah, Sam, you would have stake in this. You fucking loved fucking Black Flag, right? That game had a fuck ton of sea shanties. So back in the day when I was first like introduced to D&D 5e, and I got really into character creation. You probably are both somewhat acquainted with my boy Sean, the fucking sorcerer, sea magic, whatever. So when I was character creating, like I was so deep into it that I started fucking like making a Spotify playlist for music that hit his vibe, and there was a lot of Black Flag sea shanties in there. Like
yeah, they're good. They're solid. Every single one of them holds up as its own. Like, great.
Yeah.
William Taylor is easily my favorite song in that entire list. I fucking love William Taylor.
Which one was my fave? I think Leave Her Johnny was like very good vibes. So what is this video?
That's the Skaven diplomacy lines.
All right, it's you.
Oh, okay.
Don't care what Gracie say.
Yeah, that is exactly what I would imagine these rats to sound like. So, good on them. Yeah, sea shanties are a vibe.
All right, yeah, but all right. So you see that image of the rat? Now imagine him in football gear. That's what Blood Bowl is.
Ah, okay. He already kind of looks like he has some form of like rudimentary just football gear. So just like bulking it up.
He's
a little
already
bit.
ready to go.
Yeah, he's ready to hit the field. Yeah, there's like that, and that goes back to the whole idea of them just sort of letting people do whatever they want with them. So there's the tabletop games, and then there's like been multiple video games. There's the fucking Vermintide. There's Blood Bowl. There's
thousands of video games that like most of them
Really?
don't work. Like yeah,
Oh,
most of them
okay.
are bad. So like they only prop up. They don't put any money behind their like marketing for the game until they know that the game is going to be good. So like
Mm,
they're all early access, and then when people are like, "Oh, this one actually doesn't suck," they're like, "Here's all the marketing budget that you could ever
Yeah.
want." But it takes, you've got to prove that it's going to be good first.
If you want
mm.
to learn more about those games, I highly recommend Mandalore Gaming's channel. He does. He's on like this fucking quest of like, I like Warhammer 40k. I will review all Warhammer 40k games, and you're just like, huh? What do you mean Chapter Master was a game that existed at one point? What is that? And he's like, all right, you don't understand. All right, so there's the high, and you just fucking sit there for 10 minutes to an hour, depending on the length of the video, and you're like, yes, now
Yeah,
I
his
understand.
his most popular video is the Total War Warhammer 2 review, which is an hour and 20 minutes long.
I've
Jesus
watched
fucking
that
Actually
one.
been
Christ.
YouTube's been recommending me a lot of these things. I can see as the thumbnails here. Like
Yeah.
Mm,
for a long time, I've been getting these thumbnail recommended to me. So
yeah. There, I guess it's
Why
it's
not?
in the same vibe of like the donkeys, like the donkey views and the what's it called? Shit. Oh, Racevic, the guy who did the
Reykjavik.
years later reviews of like a lot of the action shooters out there and stuff like that. But I might have to give this guy a look. I'll
He's
take
very
your
good.
recommendation.
I found out about him through Joseph Anderson, who's easily one of
also
my
a very
favorite
good channel. Yeah.
reviewers of all time.
Hmm.
He's so good. I love my boy Joe so much.
Yeah. So yeah, Warhammer sounds like a very interesting time. It sounds like there's options for everybody. Like it seems like just
I
by
mean-
the virtue of letting them do whatever, like just giving it away to everybody to make things out of, they can therefore make anything.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, the options is what got me into it. Because, like I said, Total War Warhammer 1 came out, and I was like, I don't know, this seems like it's fine. It came out with like basically humans, the undead, orcs, and dwarves, and I was like, all right, fine. But then Warhammer 2 came out, and it has the lizardmen, it has the Skaven, it has Vampire Coast, it has all these fucking cool ass races. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's fucking go. And it is one of those things where like, you'll just like one of the main guys I watched, especially for Blood Bowl, he just likes lizard men, and he has like a set of lizard men, and he's just like, yeah, like you kind of just find the one you like, and you're like, yeah, these are my boys.
This is the crew. This is the squad. Yeah. Yeah, Warhammer seems like a fun time. We're getting close to our runtime here. But there was, you added one other topic, and I guess we could save the other stuff for another week. But did you watch The Little Mermaid recently, Jacob?
Yeah, I watched The Little Mermaid today. I'm so upset at myself. Why do I clown on that movie so much over time? It's been like probably over a couple, not a couple decades, because I'm not that old, but it's definitely been over a decade since I last saw it. And I'm just like, sure, the last act easily the weakest part, but like the first 2/3 of that movie, I'm like, shit, this thing's a fucking masterpiece. I'm so upset. Why did I clown on this movie? I fucking love it. We throw Prince Eric with all of the other chuds from like OG era Disney, and he's not. He has actual personality. Like he actually cares about things. And I'm like, oh fuck me. Why
He has
I
a
clown
cool
on The Little
dog.
Mermaid?
He's a dope
He's
ass
got the dog.
He does have a great dog.
Yeah, it's a fucking great dog. I fucking love, what's his name? I think it's like Max or something like that.
Something like that. Something simple.
Little Mermaid, great movie. Songs actually, I'm very surprised. Let's see. Where's my song list? Songs I think are, in my opinion, on the lower half in terms of soundtracks.
Sure.
I mean, of course, you got Under the Sea, which is like a fucking banger. But
throw Under the Sea on in the club to have a good time.
I think I think I've switched it up, and I think "Kiss the Girl" is now my favorite Little
Oh,
Mermaid song.
great! That's a banger. That song is
It
very
fucking
good.
rules.
Yeah.
Part of Your World is Little Mermaid too, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's Little Mermaid. Don't let's not talk about Little Mermaid too. That's a play on
Yeah,
words.
it's a
Just
different. Yeah.
yeah, but yes, that is Little Mermaid as well. Part of Your World. I actually don't. I think the reprise of Part of Your World is a lot cooler. Like when she's singing it when she right after she rescues Prince Eric.
Oh yeah.
But
Well, because that's like the emotional climax. Like that's.
well, no,
fucking-
this is the first time she saves
First,
Prince Eric.
yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I mean, yeah, Little Mermaid.
And the bitch gets impaled, which dope.
Ursula is easily one of the best Disney villains. Like
She's fun. She's
Oh,
just
yeah.
fun.
so fucking
What's
good.
what villains? I know she's. I seem to
Poor
remember.
Unfortunate Souls. That's another
it.
banger.
The villain song is so good.
Yeah, Poor Unfortunate Souls really good. Like I don't know, it's just so good. I think everyone gets hung up on like the she doesn't talk, and I'm like, yeah, but the movie goes to great lengths to explain that she's a character with enough personality that like it. I don't know. It's another thing where I'm like, guys, this criticism's dumb. Did you know that mute people exist and have relationships? Like, like I understand, but like,
I think in
There
my
are
dumb
nonverbal
kid brain,
communication.
like the part where she doesn't speak just frustrated me as a child because I was like, I don't know, like it was the same deal as like having to sit through a silent movie and then just have to watch people act without saying things for some reason.
yeah. The counterpoint,
when
silent
you're-
movie's great.
No,
Silent movies, there's plenty of-
again, as a child, that annoyed me, but as an adult, I'm like, you could do a lot of cool things without saying anything. That's actually some of the best parts of movies when people don't say stuff and they act, you know.
Sorry, I'm looking through stuff and I'm remembering other stuff I love about this movie.
But yeah, I mean, it's one
Scuttle's
of the...
a great character. I miss old kooky mentor characters where
Yeah, they don't have
like
those
he
anymore,
clearly
do
has
they?
no idea what's going on, but he's still fun.
It seems like modern Disney, like all the princess movies and stuff like that. Like what Raya and the Magic Dragon is like the new one that's coming out. They
there's
all
a
take
great Lindsay
themselves.
Ellis video on that, like of like the disappearance of certain aspects of like Disney Renaissance of like the villain song and all of that.
Right.
Look, Moana. There are parts of Moana that I love, and there are parts of Moana I do not like click with.
Sure.
And look, I love
Are you
the
saying
song.
that you don't love Shiny?
Look, I love the song Shiny, but not for the reasons I think they want me to love the song Shiny.
Fair.
I hear Shiny and I'm like, this shit's hilarious.
Yeah, it's great. But
Yeah.
Oh my.
not because they wanted it to be
No.
Mhm.
great in that way. Yeah, no, we're not laughing with you, Disney. We're laughing at you for this one.
Yeah, they
Right.
just they it seems like there's just an air of like they need to take themselves super seriously, and
I
like
don't-
you could
I don't
make
think
that
that's
choice.
it's like a refocusing. Like
Mhm.
you have a lot more time spent on like the journey itself, which is fine. But once again, like look, I know I'm in the minority when I'm like, oh, best Disney movies, easy. Treasure Planet, Atlantis. There we go. We've done it, boys. Like I understand that like even still now, like
Even
I
with
feel
the
like our
cult
generation
following, it's
our
still a
generation
cult.
appreciates those two movies a little bit more,
Yeah.
definitely. But like I know in the general populace, people are like, Treasure Planet, what the fuck? And I'm like, no, dude, you don't understand. Jim's dad, he leaves him. I cry.
I die inside, and that's in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I saw that movie for the first time in college. Like I hadn't seen
Really?
it up until
that
then.
that might be true. And statistically, it was me running around being like, "Yo, fucking Treasure Planet, guy." I fucking
Probably. Yeah. Yeah. It's just like
Good soundtrack, too.
yeah. Yeah. Very good soundtrack.
yeah, great soundtrack. Unironically, Jim's theme is one of like
It's in
easily
my playlist.
top 5 Disney songs, if not top 1. Like I love Jim's theme so much.
Yeah. They're like. There's like just a vibe that they're all like all the Renaissance movies shared. Unsurprising considering that like it was pretty much the same dudes that made all of them. So then they could make Treasure Planet, and then they got fucking shit all over.
Good old Musker and Clemens. I love those boys so much. I was listening to a good episode of Blank Check where they were like, if you think about it, if Musker and Clements don't make The Great Mouse Detective, and The Great Mouse Detective isn't as successful as it was, current Disney does not exist. The reality we live in now
Was
does
Great
not
Mouse
exist.
Detective the first, like before any of the Renaissance movies?
That was Musker and Clements' first picture together.
Wow.
It was also around the time when like Disney was broke and like Mike Eisner just came in along with Jeffrey Katzenberg, and they were like, Disney not making money, we need to fucking do something. And like, you know, they're running around with all these like weird corporate decisions, and you know, Musker and Clements are like, we're gonna make The Great Mouse Detective for you. Let's fucking figure something out. Basil Baker Street has been like, you know, thrown around so many times. Let's try and get this to work. And it works, you know, just well enough for them to get the green light to do the next level of stuff where, you know, Musker and Clements basically help create the Disney Renaissance with like Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast and all of that,
Yeah.
allowing for things like Lion King to happen. And you're just like, yes, we appreciate Great Mouse Detective in this household, boys.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Also,
think of...
I do enjoy Great Mouse Detective. It also reminds me that sometimes movies do need to be shorter. Great Mouse Detective is like 70 minutes long, and I sit there and I'm like, holy shit, there are YouTube videos that I watch that are longer than this. Thank God, this is so short.
Yeah, it's honestly crazy. It feels like in our lifetimes, the average movie length has expanded greatly, and I feel like it's because of chuds like Christopher Nolan and like
it's not
Peter
that.
Jackson, who have
It's
decided
not
that to
that.
make
It is
good
a-
movie must be long.
So here's the thing. It's not that. There's a lot of different complicated aspects because in actuality, back in the before times when movie theaters existed, a lot of directors felt pressure to shorten up some of their movies.
Right.
Which is to say, because you can, if your movie's shorter, you can fit a lot more viewings of that movie into a single day.
Ah.
Funny enough, I think streaming has led to an increase in movie length because you don't have that same type of pressure to be like,
Yeah.
make the movie shorter. We
Yeah.
got to get more people into the theater.
Yeah, you gotta cycle out the theaters because there's only so many theaters at a given location, and then you've got to use them up
I
mean,
efficiently.
argument could probably be made for in the 80s with VHS. Movies
Yeah.
got a little longer then, and probably again with DVDs, and even more so with streaming. I bet there's an increase that you can see.
Also, it really depends on the director and like just the environment you're in. Like we've always had long movies as well. Like, you know, look, I know I'm one of the few people who's like, I'm going to spend my afternoon watching Lawrence of Arabia, which is basically 4 hours long. You know, you have Lord of the Rings director's cut.
Yeah, but those are both 2000s, right? Those are fairly recent movies.
Yeah, that's true. But it's one of those things where like, you know, we've always had long movies, but the reason movies want to be long is because directors like
just want to pop off for
directors want to pop off. Directors want to show what they're made of, and you know, you have all these great ideas for a movie. Sometimes the length is justified, like in my opinion, a Lawrence of Arabia, or in you know Peter Jackson's
King Kong,
Lord of the Rings case.
Oh.
So
not so
you know,
much in The Hobbit, but you know,
yeah, not so much. like The Hobbit is a perfect example of like the opposite problem, where like
he goes too far.
Well, he doesn't go too far, but the studio goes, well, we need 3 movies because the last one was 3 movies.
Yeah,
also,
you're right.
A third movie gives us an additional movie to get ticket sales off of. So like, it's one of those things. Like, it's part of the complex web and structure of how you know making a movie in this under you know the behest of a publishing house like it's a complex situation. Sometimes a director will want to like not typically a director will want a movie shorter, but you know sometimes a studio will say like you need to hit these things in the movie. Great example, Wonder Woman, the last you know third of that movie doesn't exist in Patty Jenkins's head and is only existing because fucking studio heads were like, you have to have the part where she fights the big guy.
She has to fight Remus Lupin, but he's in a really buff costume, but he's a fucking old British dude.
And that's why the movie ends before then. I don't know what happened. It just whenever I watch the movie, the credits just roll when the thematic conclusion of the story happens, and that last third doesn't exist.
Kind of crazy. Yeah, you talking about like the long run times and Peter Jackson stuff. I mentioned King Kong just because I literally watched it for the first time last Sunday, I think.
Really?
That is a 3-hour movie, and they literally spend like you can pinpoint exactly when the different acts are happening because it's before the island, on the island, after the island, and it's like just perfectly divvied up. And I think at that point it really was just like the second act was like, okay, so they're on the island. We really just want to flex our visual effects like muscles right now, so we're just gonna have these guys go to save the damsel in distress and then just get fucked up by the fauna for an hour.
Lawrence of Arabia knew what it was fucking doing. Lawrence of Arabia, you go down, you sit in the theater, you get to the like 2-hour mark, and it's like intermission time. Everyone take 15 minutes. It's a long fucking movie, and I go, thank you, Lawrence of Arabia. Long movies got to bring back the intermission, even if it's on streaming. Well, like the Hateful Eight even has an intermission sequence. Like,
oh yeah.
Like the Hateful Eight goes, hey, the Hateful Eight is like, and Hateful Eight isn't even anywhere close to, I mean, I guess it is kind of close to as long as Lawrence of Arabia, but it's a pretty long movie. And Quentin Tarantino was like, all right, we've reached the thematic middle point of the story. Everyone go up, stretch your legs, take a 15-minute break, come back here, and we're going to keep watching the movie. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, really, if you want to talk about like bringing back intermissions, like now that we have so many fucking miniseries, basically the breaks between episodes are just like the new intermission.
TV bad. Hot take. No, like TV.
I cannot believe that is just you just don't
TV
have the
not
attention
actually
span.
bad. This is a joke, but also like you know me, my brain's fucking broken. Someone says TV series, and I'm like, no, dude, just give me like a nice tight 1.5 to 3 hour long singular thing I can sit down and watch.
Yeah, I understand. All right, This has been a great show, great conversations. Brad is trying to make me overhydrate to death because I won't let him in, even though the show's over.
Bitch, drown.
So I'm gonna just down the rest of this fucking water bottle, and I'll be back on for the rest of the Solok in like probably an hour or so. So tune in for that. But thank you guys for joining me, and thank you Braden wherever you are for hopping in there. But yeah, thank you Jacob, and thank you Mysterious Void Man for joining us. And I hope
thanks Braden.
hope your time back in the void with the lizard people at the center of the earth treats you well. But yeah, now I will
Always
chug.
does.
He hydrated.
Down the hatch. Sip, sip. Pretty slow chug.
Yeah.
Oh, he's drowning. We got a drowner.
Stay safe out there. Peace out.